1799. The movie Sleepy Hollow goes back in time to that year. It depicts Washington Irving's headless horseman terrorizing a small town. In that same year, a real-life murder mystery in Tribeca brings together the nation's very first defense dream team. In post-Revolutionary War America, the system of jurisprudence had yet to evolve into the rule of law that we know today.
My quest to find the secrets of Tribeca brings me here, to the corner of Greenwich and Franklin Street. This spot is just blocks away from some major movie locations. It could happen to you, was shot just a few blocks away. And who could forget Ghost?
Tribeca looks like a backlot. It's no coincidence that filmmakers come back to it again and again and again.
The scenic, angular streets of Tribeca make it the perfect location for movies of any setting or time.
So let's step back in time to 1799 to learn a little bit more about one of New York City's most notorious murder victims and her accused killer.
The corner of Greenwich and Franklin Streets was the location of an upscale boarding house.
The boarding house that was run by Mr. and Mrs. Ring was a perfectly respectable place, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with living in a boarding house in those days.
The young and beautiful Gulielma Sands lived in the boarding house, and one floor above her was another boarder, the charming Levi Weeks.
Gulielma Sands was fun-loving, vivacious, and known to have many suitors.
Elma was known to be a very attractive girl. She was very popular.
Levi Weeks was one of Manhattan's most eligible bachelors.
Levi was a charmer and a favorite with the ladies. Levi was a carpenter and his brother Ezra a builder, well-known builder.
It wasn't long before a flirtatious relationship began.
Gulielma had confided to a few women in the boarding house that Levi had promised her marriage.
No one was to know this. Levi did not want anybody to know. The marriage was to be secret for a while.
She begged them to keep the impending marriage a secret, but confided that she and Levi were to elope.
The night of December 22nd, 1799 was a cold and moonlit night. Gulielma was wearing her fineries and wore a muff for warmth. She was seen getting into a sleigh, but after that night, she was never seen alive again.
On the night of the murder, at about 8 p.m., witnesses swore they saw Gulielma leave the boarding house.
Mr. and Mrs. Ring said at first that they had seen the two young people leave the house together.
At approximately 10 p.m., Levi returned to the boarding house alone.
3 days later, two young boys playing in Lispinard's meadow spotted a muff in the Manhattan well. It was the same exact muff that Gulielma had borrowed from the boarding house proprietor.
11 days after Gulielma's mysterious disappearance, her relatives decided they should search the well.
And they did find Elma's body there.
Her body seemed to have signs of having been beaten. Her face was sort of bruised.
The finger of suspicion pointed only toward one person, Levi Weeks. He was the last one to have seen her alive.
Levi Weeks was immediately arrested.
I don't believe he was suspected by the authorities until the Rings decided that he must have been the guy who did it.
The legal battle that ensued became the celebrity trial of its day.
Well, as soon as this lovely young lady was discovered in the well and it appeared in the newspapers, it became the topic. It was the great thing that everybody wanted to know about.
Everyone wanted Weeks found guilty. For his defense, he hired two of the most prominent attorneys of his day.
Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were two very large personalities of their times, both lawyers, both very good lawyers. Not only competitive on the professional level, but very competitive on a very personal level.
And the secret? The Levi Weeks trial was the first recorded murder trial in America. And Hamilton and Burr were also the nation's first celebrity dream team. They ingeniously strategized a compelling defense that was based on blaming the victim.
Well, it turned out that this pair did a masterful job of defending Levi Weeks. It was very similar to the O.J. Simpson trial.
Calling into question Gulielma's moral character proved easy.
Hamilton and Burr were very quick to bring testimony that Elma was not all that quiet and demure. As one would say, she played around.
Despite the strong case of circumstantial evidence against Levi, he was acquitted. And as he exited the courthouse, New Yorkers greeted him with angry calls of murderer.
After he was acquitted, his life was made miserable in New York.
The citizens of New York soon ran Levi Weeks out of town.
Immediately after the jury announced its verdict, Catherine Ring stood up in court and shouted at Hamilton, "If thee does not die an unnatural death, there was no justice in the world." And of course, 4 years later, Hamilton died at the hand of Aaron Burr.
2 centuries ago, the Manhattan Well was at the edge of Lispenard's Meadow. Today, it can be found here in the basement of the Manhattan Bistro restaurant.
The Manhattan Well was built by the Manhattan Company.
The well in which Elma was found was built by Aaron Burr.
Was Levi Weeks really innocent or guilty? That has never been conclusively proven, but it is said that the ghost of Gulielma Sands still wanders the streets of Tribeca in search of her murderer. My search for the secrets of Tribeca continues.